नमस्कार श्री केशवराव साष्टांग नमस्कार.
Hello, sorry.
So we'll start with the prayer.
Yeah.
नारायणं परिपूर्ण गुणार्णवाय विश्वोदय स्थिति लयो नियति प्रदाय ज्ञान प्रदाय विबुधा सुख दुख सत्कारणाय वितताय नमो नमस्ते. So this is the second week, and in the previous week we have talked about Jnana Bhakti Vairagya, and there was another session where Sri Keshav Rao ji talked about the Purushartha, specifically the Dharma and the Moksha. So today we requested him to talk about the background of Mahabharata, who the author is, and the context for Mahabharata. So I would request Sri Keshav Rao ji to take the session for us.
Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Vyasaya Bhuvanashaya Sishaya Gunarashaya Hudyaya Shuddha Vidyaya Madhvaya Namo Namaha. Abhramam Bangaraitam Ajadam Vimlam Sada Anandatithmatlam Bhajeta Patrayabham Pujya Raghavendraya Siddharmatayata Bhadatam Kalpurukshaya Natam Kamadhinive Apadmani Paryantam Guru Namaktin Pare Tena Vignaha Prashyanti Siddhinsa Manorathaha. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. At the very beginning, Ugadi big great wishes and the blessings and Ugadi Shubhakanksha's to everybody. Krodhinam Samvatsara, may it be very prosperous and fortune giving and wish fulfilling and God grace giving year for you all. And we are doing the Gita Adhyayana. So the context is, if you are learning Gita, what is so much importance for Gita? Everybody knows that Bhagavad Gita comes in Mahabharata. So how the Mahabharata came into existence? Why the Bhagavad Gita came into existence? What is the significance of Mahabharata? What is the significance of Bhagavad Gita? And what is the significance of the author of the Mahabharata, Vedavyasa himself? A brief introduction for that before we enter the Bhagavad Gita. And as you all know, the Vedas are there's something called Vedas. Shruti, Smriti, we'll talk about that at some point of time. What is Shruti, what is Smriti? But the knowledge that is preserved in Vedas, sometimes it gets lost in the flow of time. And every time it gets lost or it gets covered or it gets muffled up, Paramatma himself incarnates and restores the things to help all the good people. That is what is mentioned, what happened here, and Acharya mentions that here. When in Bhagavad Gita Bhashya, the very Upodghata, the introduction, Acharya states that how it came into existence, the whole thing, how it started. And in Acharya's words himself, this is what he says: Nashta dharma jnana loka krupalubhihi brahma Brahmarudrendradihi arthitah jnana pradashnaya bhagavan vyasaha avatatara. So all this, so basically it says, when the dharma jnana is lost in the world, Brahma, Rudra, Indra, all the devatas, they go and pray Paramatma, oh Lord, do something about it. So then Vedavyasa, he incarnated. So Tataha says Ishta Anishta Prapti Parahara Sadhana Adarshanat Vedartha Jnanat Samsarika. So people are suffering in samsara. So do something for their benefit, for their well-being, and for all the kinds of people, everybody, no exceptions, Stri or Shudra or Brahmabandhus or all kinds of people, anybody who wants to there, through Dharmajnana, if they want to obtain what is called the moksha, we talked about happiness, moksha is the ultimate liberation bliss. So if let that come, let that be within the reach of people. I mean, it's up to them whether they accept it or not, but at least, oh Lord, give them an opportunity. So this is what they pray, and the Bhagavan Lord is all compassionate. So what he did was Sarva Vedartha Upabhumhita says. So all the Vedic knowledge he incorporated And also tad anukta kevala Ishvara Jnana Dwara. So Ishvara Jnana Drishtyartha. So Paramatma himself, he knows beyond the Vedic knowledge. Whatever knowledge is there in Veda, he knows all of it, and he knows much beyond, much more also. So he incorporated that also. And Sarva Praninam Avagahya Anavagahya Rupam. This Mahabharata is such a complex work. A lot of people enjoy it. A lot of people understand to some extent. But nobody understands the Mahabharata completely except the blessed ones like, Ruji Yogis. They understand. But other than that, no, okay, Ruji Yogi is the word that I use, but basically great beings. They understand, but others, they find it difficult, but still everybody can understand to their own ability. So that's why it says some can understand more, some can understand less. But this Mahabharata helps everybody. So Kevala Bhagavad Swarupa Param, Bhagavanta Swarupa. What is Bhagavanta? What he is? So this is what is taught in Mahabharata, and it is called Parokshartha. Basically, Paramatma, knowledge about Paramatma is incorporated in Mahabharata. So this great work Mahabharata, which consists of 1 lakh slokas, 100,000 slokas are present in this one. One lifetime is not sufficient even just to get a reasonably good meaning, whatever is up, forget about the in-depth meaning. Reasonably good meaning also to obtain, one lifetime is needed. That much information is incorporated, and such a great work Mahabharata was composed by Vedavyasa, who is nothing but Lord Narayana's direct incarnation. His own, so Paramatma incarnated on earth, and he composed this Mahabharata. And actually, there is a lot of glory that we talk. We're not going to go into all the details, but in that introduction, Acharya talks about the glory of Mahabharata, how it is there, and this one word I'll just know, one sentence I'll tell. Rest all, we'll see some other time, because we need to study Gita. Here it says, Yed ihasti tadanyatra yannihasti nakutrachit. Mahabharata contains all the knowledge. Of course, that means in its seed form. If somebody asks, does it have a physics? Does it have a chemistry? Means that's not what it is. Bhagavat Parajnana. Whatever is about Paramatma, that all of that is Yadi ihasti. And also it talks about a lot of other, like, some economic principles, political principles, and psychological principles. All these are also dealt with in Mahabharata. We can see all of that, and a kind of a glimpse of that we can see in Bhagavad Gita also. And that such a greatness, such great work is Mahabharata. And in Mahabharata, two things are stressed, very important. Says Tatracha Sarva Bharata Artha Sangraham Vasudeva Arjuna Samvada Rupam Bharata Parijata Madhubhutam Gitam Upanibandha. Basically, what he's saying is, in Mahabharata, the Mahabharata's essence, such a big work. Oh, people say it's very difficult for us to go through Mahabharata. In Krishna and Arjuna conversation, it says if Mahabharata is compared to a Kalpavruksha, Parijata, Kalpavruksha, and in that Kalpavruksha, Madhubhuta, some a certain amount, go sit under the Kalpavruksha and ask for the Amruta. A small amount, the amount of Amruta is given in the form of Gita. So the Mahabharata is compared to a Kalpavruksha, and Bhagavad Gita is compared to an Amruta coming out of the Kalpavruksha. And there, another thing is mentioned. Acharya quotes from the Kurma Purana. Bharatam Sarvasastreshu Bharate Gitikavara Vishnoho Sahasrnama Nyeyam Pathyam cha Tadvayam. In Mahabharata, so maybe everything is important, but still two things stand out. What are the two things means? In Mahabharata, Gitika means Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is excellent, and Vishnu Sahasranama. We are all maybe familiar with all that. Vishnu Sahasranama and Mahabharata. These two, Tadvayam, these two are very, very essential. These are the essence of Mahabharata, which we can see, and the Kurma Purana quotes these two and says this is the greatness of Mahabharata. So, with that introduction, Mahabharata, and actually there are some interesting episodes that are also mentioned. People say, okay, we have Vedas, we have Mahabharata. Which one is greater? In terms of Artha Vistara. And even Devata said, okay, we want to test it out. We want to show to the world which is the one great. So what they did was, this is a very subtle thing. A lot of people get a doubt about it. That's why I'm talking about this. A big balance, we call, the balance, which you test the weights of things, which is heavier. That balance is made, and the balance has two sides, two plates on two sides. On one side, Mahabharata is kept, and another side, Vedas is kept. How is that possible? You mean say some book is kept, Mahabharata book, and Vedas are Mohik Jnana. So how can they be put? How is it possible? Means they took the Shakti, they basically say Abhimani Devatas, their Shakti. So a symbolic power of that, because the Devatas is not done by human beings, it's done by Devatas, right? So what they did was they took, kind of a symbolized the power of Mahabharata put on one side, they symbolized the power of Vedas and put on the other side, and Mahabharata weighed a little bit heavier than the Vedas. So that doesn't mean it's undermining the Vedas. What it is, it's actually talking the greatness of Mahabharata. Mahatvat Bharavatvatcha Mahabharata. Why the Mahabharata got that name? So to indicate that this is mentioned, Mahatva means greatness, Bharatva means Bhara means weight, heavy. So Bharatva is basically heaviness. Because it is so great and it is even has so much of weight, heaviness, it is called Mahabharata. So the name Mahabharata, that's why it got that name. So of course there are other reasons also. Bharata Vamsha episode, that's why Mahabharata is also, that's other names are there, but this is the etymological name for Mahabharata. So in Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita is, as it is said, the essence. And how the Bhagavad Gita came about? Bhagavad Gita came about uh, because Arjuna, in the battlefield, just before the war broke out, he says, oh my God, I cannot kill all these people. And that. So I'll give a homework for all of you. This is, just, for you to think about it. Some question I'm putting forth rather than myself answering that, so that it triggers a kind of a thinking process. You all know that, broadly, this because you would have watched the Mahabharata series, or you have read it, or you heard from your parents, whatever way, you know broadly the story of Mahabharata. And you know that Arjuna fought so many wars. It's not like war is nothing new for Arjuna. In fact, before the Mahabharata war, Arjuna fought against the same entire Kaurava army, including Bhishma Drona, in Virata Yuddha. In Virata Yuddha, Arjuna fought it. He knows what war is. He's not new to the battle or war. He's like kind of seasoned in the war. He knows what is war, what is battle. He knows completely. In that case, Arjuna, before even entered the Mahabharata battlefield, Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, so it starts Gita, and that Kurukshetra, before even entering the battlefield, he is one of the greatest warriors. He knows that he has to fight against Bhishma Drona. He knows that he has to participate in the big war. He knows everything about the war, what the war is going to be. So he should have asked Krishna, hey, Krishna, this is the war going to be. How am I going to fight? He could have asked. But he never had any hesitation, anything. He came to the battlefield. Krishna was a charioteer and Sarathi, so he came and he ready to fight. And suddenly he says, oh, I cannot kill all these people. No, whatever, no, we'll just go into the Gita later on. But basically, he is hesitant to fight. And then Krishna gives, that is the context for Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna gave the Upadesha to Arjuna, answered all the questions of Arjuna, and gave the Bhagavad Gita. But the question is, why did Arjuna get those feelings in the battlefield, while he is a seasoned warrior, he is not a fresher for the war. He fought so many battles, so many wars against Devatas, against Kaurava army itself in Virata Yuddha. He knows what the war is. He never hesitated or never had the hesitation to fight against them. But when he came to Mahabharata Yuddha, why did he show his hesitation to fight? And Krishna had to give Bhagavad Gita. Of course, people can say, oh, because the Lord wanted to give Gita Upadesha, so he made Arjuna to think like that. People may give that explanation, but I want people to think a little deeper, because you all are, good in developing a thinking process. So, if you feel shy to answer, you can send to my personal thing. I'm there in this, WhatsApp group. If you are hesitant to send the group, or if you are, don't hesitate, don't feel shy. You can send to the group itself. But if you, for any reason, you are hesitant, you can send to me or send to Vivek, whatever. So the reason for that is not like anything else, but to it kind of a trigger a thinking process, kindle a little bit of thinking, how the thinking is to be there. So why Arjuna raised these questions in the battlefield while he's a seasoned warrior? He knows all about the war, battlefield, and everything. So why did the questions pop up only in the battlefield at that time? So give me your opinions, your thinking process. Don't worry about the accuracy. No, it's not a very serious examination or anything like that. But I want to hear from all of you. Actually, I want all of you to participate and give whatever thinking you have about this. So here I pause. Any questions are there, you can feel free to ask. Hare Srinivasa, Krishna Arpanamastu.
Hare Srinivasa.
Yeah, Hare Srinivasa.
Nangun.
Yeah.
So this isn't necessarily related to today's lesson, but it was a question that popped up in my mind yesterday.
Yeah.
So sometimes when we have intense emotions, as in like excitement or happiness or intense sadness or intense anger, how do we remember God? Does that come with practice, or how can we improve that?
Okay, that's a good question. So basically, we have ups and downs in life. So how should we think of God? How? Yes, it is comes by practice, and also know this. It's very difficult to imagine God's presence in everything, but in our own life, you feel that sometimes the same person is very nice to us. The same
Mhm,
person, for no reason, he is rough to us. So
mhm,
why somebody is nice to us? So same way, the happiness and sadness that comes to us because of the circumstances. So many, like some good things are happen, then we are happy. All good things happen all for us, and all bad things, like suddenly our we fall down, we slip down, fall down, something hurts, and we say, oh, pain and all that. But we see that there is some other bigger force which is responsible for the reactions of the people, the mental attitudes of the people. So the people's minds are not in our control. How people treat us is not in our control. Same way, the things that happen, good things that happen to us, the bad things that happen to us, we see that they are beyond our control. There's so many things beyond our, of course, some of the things they think, oh, it is in my control. That feeling comes, so many things. Oh, I had to go there. It was my decision. I wanted to go there, and somehow I messed up. I didn't go there, so something bad happened. Or I went there, bad happened. Or I went there, good happened. I went there, I didn't go, a good thing happened. So all these things happen. Sometimes it gives the impression that something is under my control, but lot of times we get the feeling it is not in our something, some higher power, some greater power is controlling things. And I am put in that set of circumstances. I am put in these conditions. So the happiness is coming because of the people or the conditions. So see, our sadness or happiness comes because of either jada or chetana, lifeless objects or living objects. So people, they treat us nicely, we are very happy. People treat us bad. Oh, that person, why is he so nasty to me? I did everything good. I was so nice to that person, but that still that person is nasty to me. Why? Why that person is nasty to me? Why that person is good? So you see that both the living objects and non-living objects, they are not under our control. Some superpower is. So that is how you remember. So when sadness comes or happiness comes, peak of joy or peak of sorrow, in both the cases, we think of God by practice. As you said, it comes through practice, but also it comes through what we call in Samskrita manana. Manana means thinking about God. In everything that happens to us, connect it to a superpower. That doesn't mean that you have to become lazy and say, oh, everything is in God's hands. Why should I do anything? No, that is not Shastra says. You know, think of God's work in that, but still God also has given you the ability to work. So God has not given you the will to be actionless. You have to be, you have no, there's a sloka that comes, much later. We'll talk about that later. But there's a sloka called Karmanyeva Adhikaraste Mapale, like that, basically saying we have right only to act. We don't have right to be inactive. We don't have right to do anything. But whatever God has given, think of God, pray God, and so that He will make things as good as much as possible good to us. Of course, our karmas are there. Based on our karmas, things happen. All that is true. But at the same time, we pray God. That is also part of our karma only. Praying God is also part of our karma only. But we pray God saying, give me the sense to think of you. Whether the good happens or bad happens. If bad happens, how we should think, oh, it could have been much worse. God has given me this much bad thing, but it could have been worse. So this,
Mm.
he prevented this much only. He gave me this much bad, but what, suppose we fall down, we hurt. Oh, maybe I could have been even killed, but I just know I had a big injury, but God has saved me. Think of that way. Or if something good happens, oh, God has given me the good thing. So think of connecting everything to God and praying. When good happens, think of God. When bad happens, also think of God. How? Like this. Things are not under our control. Things are beyond our control. He made this to happen to us. That's how we have
Mhm.
to connect. Yeah.
Okay. Hare Krishna, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so I want to add something to
Yeah.
what
Sure.
Shrikar asked. So I think we when we start to see the Mahatmya of the Lord, the greatness and the glory of the Lord,
Yeah.
then you would start to see the presence of Lord everywhere. So Bhagavad Gita, study of Bhagavad Gita, it is going to help you see the greatness of the Lord. For example, in 15th Adhyaya, this is what my Guruji, Sri Vidyatma Tirth Swamiji, he taught me. One time he was in a surgery, open heart surgery he had gone through, and he that time this three shloka came to his mind, and he was telling me about it. So yada aditya gatam teja jagat bhasayate akhilam yat chandramasi yat chagno tat tejo vidhi mamakam. So Lord tells in Bhagavad Gita in the 15th adhyaya that the light, the energy that you see in the sun, know that to be mine. So he's like electricity, which is present in all appliance. So similarly, he is present in the sun and he gives the energy to this earth. That's why there is a life possible here on earth.
Mm.
Also present in the moon. So in the daytime, in the nighttime, you can think about him. If he was not present in the moon and created the dews in the night, we know that there are physical phenomena that are happening which is causing it, but even those physical phenomena are under his control.
Mm.
These dews, if they were not there, all these trees would scorch in the heat of the sun during the
Yeah.
day. You would not get any relief in the night. And also the phases of the moon that happens. it creates the life. It creates the growth of life on the planet. And then the other shloka is Gama Vishyachad Bhutani Dharyaham Ojasa Pushnami Chausadi Sarvo Samo Bhutva Rasatka. So not just he provides the energy from the sun, but he enters the earth and sustains and grows the plants, both vanaspati and aushadhi. So aushadhi is something that this is like an annual, you cut and you grow the grain and you eat it, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
vanaspati is the trees, like a mango tree, which is perennial. So he sustains them. Then, but
Mm-hmm.
also we have the food now, but we cannot even eat it ourselves. We don't control our digestion. So he says in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Deham Asritaha Prana Pano Samayukta Pachanyanyam Chaturvidam. So he even regulates our breathing and he digests the food in our body. So that's how we get the energy, right? That's why
Mm-hmm.
it's like the electricity who gives us the power to do things. So I think you once you start to read Bhagavad Gita and we go through this study, you will see the glory of the Lord, him present in different aspects, and that would help you become more bring the equanimity in your mind. So
Mm-hmm.
during difficult times or during the where excitement times, it will
Mm-hmm.
not affect you as much. So that is the what we want to inculcate and build through this better understanding and knowledge that is Lord has given us in Bhagavad Gita.
Mm. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good explanation. So I didn't go on all that because I thought maybe too much now, but it's good. Like no, yeah, it's a very nice presentation. And just to add a little bit there, more kind of says yachandramasi yachagno tattejo vidya. So Agni also there. Agni also is mentioned. Agni means as Vaishwanara he says the digesting power Agni, and also the Agni is the heat. We have look at our body. It has to have proper temperature. If the temperature goes below that, people are like people die. So when the alive person has a body heat, that body heat, the Ushna, suppose it goes beyond certain temperature, the body, the person dies. Look at how great it is. The body temperature is in a particular range only, it's there. Nobody's body temperature, like is at 200 degrees or 300 degrees, or nobody's body temperature is like, at 50 degrees or 40. Body temperature has to be in a particular range. Of course, normally a little up, a little down, but still it has to be a particular, that body heat is the life force. So the life force and body heat are connected. So the life force is supported by Paramatma. So he maintains even our survival, the very moment, our survival is under the control of Paramatma. So that's why as a Bimbarupi we call, we say basically he is inside us, maintaining our existence itself. We call Satta Prada. That means our existence itself is under the control of Paramatma, and this is what should make us think of him in every circumstance. But it's difficult, of course. As you said, it's practice to practice. But as much as possible, we should think of God in every part of our life, every point of our life, every stage of our life, so that what happens is that gives us a strength, increases our power, increases our connection with Him, and makes us more strong and more sustainable, more capable of handling the situations that happen around us. So that's why people need the philosophical buffer to sustain, maintain their lifestyle, and do conduct their life in a very fruitful way. That's how the Gita, as we mentioned, the Gita helps us in inculcating those thoughts, in developing those thoughts, and training ourselves to the level where, as much as possible, we think of God, as much as possible, within our own capabilities and limits.
Oh, that's a great explanation. ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು. ಬಹಳ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತದೆ. It's cleared up.
Okay, anyone else has a question or any comments? So what we are finding is that we initially thought that these classes will keep it for 15-20 minutes, but I think it's more practical to have it for half an hour. So going forward, like that's what we'll assume, that these classes will be for at least half an hour.
Yeah, 15-20 minutes is what probably the talk I give you, like 15-20 minutes. I'll try to keep you on less than 15 minutes so that people have scope for asking these questions, and ultimate goal is to answer the questions, because I'm glad that slowly you're coming forward to ask questions. The ultimate goal is making people feel free to ask questions, interactive. So yeah, we'll try to keep even shorter so that get more scope for questions.
Dhanyavad Shri Keshav Rao. Sastang Namaskar. We'll do a small prayer and then we'll conclude the class for today. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaha Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kasyat Bhave. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Shri Krishna Arpanastu. Yeah.
Shanti.
Krishna.
Sastang
Krishna.
Namaste.
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 Shubhratri, everyone.
धन्यवाद.